Well, hello there, it's Ian here and welcome to part 2 of building a hero section component using ETCH Builder and automatic CSS. Now, if you remember in part 1, this is the stage we got to, and I've made some slight edits since that video just to kind of give it a little bit of context because we've got a bride and groom dancing in the background, so I just thought welcome to Party Time DJs. Bit of description text, and we've added a little bit of text here on the buttons. I also noticed a mistake I did make in the video, which was turning this heading into a H1. It was a H2. I've made it a H1. There's a couple of ways you can do that now. You can either change it from H2 to H1 down here, or you can just type H1 here, or you can go over here into the HTML and change it to H1 there. But here we are. We're back at the basics. We've got the hero section. We've not done anything else with it. Now, in this video, we're going to be turning this into a component and adding a boatload of settings so that we can customize it. Well, not just the web designer, but also the owner of the website. If they want to go in and change an image and change the text and do all these other kind of fun things, then they will be able to do that really, really easily, especially when this is a component. And in order to turn this into a component, it's really simple. In ETCH, it's a piece of cake. If you right click on the thing you want to turn into a component and you click on create component. But wait, before we do that, there's something we need to talk about. And this is these two things here. The icon buttons, they are already components. What is going to happen when we do this? Are we going to lose the ability to access the settings for these components within another component? Well, no, it's fine. ETCH has your back. We can set it up so that we can still access these buttons from inside the component. So let's get cracking. Let's turn this into a component, and there we go. It turns purple, which now means it's a component. We're going to hit save, and we're going to carry on. Now, we're going to deal with these two icon buttons first, because when we click on exit, we can see now that we've got our component here, but we can't, there's no properties, there's no settings. How do I change the buttons? Panic, panic, panic. There's no need to panic, right? No need to panic whatsoever. All you do is you right click on edit component, and we'll go to the two buttons, the two icon buttons, and there's a new option here. This appeared in ETCH 1.0, I think, or maybe the final release candidate, can't remember. There's an option here to expose props to parent, and what this will do is once we've selected it and we do it there, when you click on save and exit, you'll see that now when we select the main component, we can still access the props for those two buttons. So it's all good. ETCH has you covered. Although, what I have noticed, and this is a bug, that when you do that, it resets the button content. So let's sort that out. We'll say more about weddings. And this one was show me the extras. And we had different classes on these as well. BTN outline. There we go. Cool. Right. Back to where we were. So we've now got our... Excuse me. I've just got a very sore throat at the minute. I'm going to just grab a drink. So we have our component, and we've now exposed the props for the two icon buttons as well, which is really, really important. And it's good that we are actually able to do this now. So when we turn this into a component, we need to kind of work out what props. And if you remember, a prop is it's a property. Okay, it's short for property. We're going to need to know what props we are going to attach to various things within the hero section. And the kind of ones that stand out more than anything are the H1 heading here, the description, and the background image. So we're going to get started with those because they're the easiest ones to do. So when we think about the headline and the description, we just need text props. So we click on the little plus button here, and we click on text, and we're going to add another one because we need two. And we also need a media prop, which is going to be for the background image. So we will put the headline in here. and then we'll do the description here, and then we'll do media or image or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Now, something else that's really important to point out is these things here inside the curly braces, they're called keys. They're property keys. And these keys are connected to the component. So you don't have to worry about having unique names for all of these props around your website. Okay, so if you have another different style of hero section, you can have a key called headline inside it because it's linked just to that component. It doesn't bleed out into other components. So you can, they're not unique globally. They are just literally for this component and this component only. So in order to attach this prop to the headline, if you remember from the icon button video, you click on the little target icon here, and then you go to the thing you want to connect it to and you click, and you can see here now we've got the props.headline shortcode there. I think that's the best way to describe it. We'll do the same with description, and we'll just do that, and that's all good. That's all connected up. And when you do that, it takes the values of whatever these were and it puts them as the default value in the prop, which is really convenient. Now, when it comes to media, if you look back at the dynamic image element we added to the hero section, there's two ways of getting media into the image. The first one is we've got the static URL. This is the fallback image, okay? And then we have this one, the WP Media ID. And over here on the left-hand side, you can see we have two options here. We've got a media ID or we've got a URL. And what this does is when you select media ID, and we'll just pick one, we'll just pick this picture here. You can see it's put the ID of that particular image. Now, what is the ID? Every time you do something in WordPress, you either add a post or you add an image or you add a new page, it's given a unique ID. And every image and everything has its own unique ID, and images are no different. So this would have been the 35th thing. This particular image here, this was the 35th thing I uploaded to this WordPress installation. If we choose this one will probably be number 36. There we go. But what we're going to do is we're going to leave this blank for now, okay? But we still need to connect it to the image element. So we're going to grab the key, and we'll just click on the little icon there to copy it. We're going to go over to the element settings, and we're going to paste it into here. And the reason why we're pasting it here is because when either the website owner or me or some other developer changes the image, we don't want the static fallback image to change. If they don't specify any image, it's going to use this. Okay? If they do specify an image, then it will use that instead. And we'll demo this now. We'll just click on save, exit out of there, and you can see now we've got some new hero properties here. So we're going to leave the headline and the description, but let's just show that whatever I type here is appearing in there. So that does work. If we add a new image, we're going to click on that, and then we're going to select an image. We'll pick this one here, and we'll click on use this media. We can see now that the image has changed, but if I delete that 38, it's going to fall back to the default image. So that's something really important and good to know. Well, okay, let's get back into the component. Now, let's look at other things that we want to be able to edit. And we're going to head over to the overlay, which has got three things in it, which we're gonna have some fun with. Well, not fun, but we're going to be able to adjust their values as props. Okay. The first one here is this background color. If you look at this statement, is it command? Whatever, I don't know what they call it. There's a couple of things in here that we can fiddle about with. The first here is this one, black, and it says 50%. Okay, so we can actually stick CSS variables in place of these things, and we can manipulate them using props. in order to be able to do that, we need to tokenize the values. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create some new CSS variables. We're going to attach them specifically to this overlay. Now, with CSS variables, these variables will be enabled. They'll be available all across the whole website. They're not just stuck and limited only in the overlay, but because we're doing them on the overlay, we can replace those values very quickly and easily. So in order to create a new variable, you just do double dash, and then I always do the name of the thing we're attaching it to, which is hero, and we want to deal with the color. We've got black, so let's call it overlay color, and then we'll just put black there. Okay, now to test this, we're going to get rid of the word black here, and we're going to replace it with this variable. So let's just highlight it, copy, go here and stick the variable in there, and there we go. Now if I change this to red, then we get a red background. If I change this to blue, then we get a blue background, but we're just going to stick black there for now. Okay, right, next one we're going to do is this percentage, which is the the strength of the overlay. If we change this to 60%, you can see it goes a little bit darker. 70%, 80%, 90%. The higher the percentage, the darker the image becomes. So we're going to create a new variable for that as well. We're going to call it hero overlay strength. I always worry spelling strength correctly, and we'll just say 50%. Okay. Now, this may or may not work, but we can fiddle with it and make it work somehow. We're going to copy the variable, and we're just going to go here, and we're just going to replace it with the variable here. So here we go. There we go. So we've got the strength now, and if we change this value, 70%, 80%, 90%, okay, it's all good. Now, I was worried that the percentage would cause a problem, in which case we would just have to change this to the value, which is the number, and then stick the percentage on the end after the variable, but we don't have to do that. But we may still encounter this as a problem when we come to do it in props, because I'm not sure we can actually have percentages in props, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Now, the next thing we want to create a variable for is the filter, the blur value, which is currently 5px. So we're going to create another value called hero overlay blur, and we'll just put 5px there. Okay, cool. Now if we grab the variable name, Command C or copy C if you're on PC, and we're just going to stick it in here. Okay, there we go. Now if I change this value here to 10px, 20px, 5000px, you know. And this is the other benefit of having CSS variables, because you can stick all of these variables here wherever you want. You can either stick them in global CSS. You can attach them to the parent element and still control them from here. So, you know, if we decided we wanted a red, turn it to red. If we want the strength to be 80%, so you see the value of having these variables, we can literally put them wherever we want. But what we're going to do is we're gonna have them as props. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach them back on the thing where they have an effect, if that makes sense. Okay, right. Let's just tidy this up. Now, Etch will tidy it up automatically, but my OCD, I just have to do it myself. So we need to create props now for these three things. And we're going to use text props, okay? We could use select props for the colors and give a choice of fixed colors to the designer or to the website owner. But from a just to keep it simple, we're just going to use text props, because then we can put in whatever value we need. So we need 3 text props, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to call this one the overlay color. We're going to call this one the overlay strength, and we're going to call this one the overlay blur. There we go. Then we know when we're looking at the props, and the website owner knows that these 3 values here affect the what they affect: the overlay color, the blur, and strength. We're going to stick some default values in here. So in color we've got black, in strength we've got 50%, and in blur we've got 5px. Now, copy the keys for the first one. The one thing you can't do in Etch, and I don't know whether this is going to be possible at some point, is drop this prop into the CSS, right? How cool would it be if we could do that? It would make life so much simpler. But as you can see, we can't do that. So what we need to do is we need to do it a different way. Now, I'm going to leave that as black. In fact, we can get rid of these. We don't need these at all. Actually, we'll keep them there because I'll forget what they're called. We can use props in HTML as inline styles. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'll go to the HTML, and this is the beauty of Etch: the fact that we can look at the HTML and mess about with it and see the effects of the changes that we're making directly on the canvas. It's pretty cool. So to add inline styles, you go style equals, and then you put the styles within these quotation marks. Now, as I start typing, you will start to see a load of errors inside Etch, but that's because we haven't completed the command and we haven't done it properly. So just ignore the errors. You'll see them in this kind of section up here, but just ignore them for now. So we're going to do this this first one here, hero overlay color, and we're going to copy that, and I'm going to stick that here. Okay, that's all good. We're going to take this second one, and I'm going to stick that here, and that's all good. And then we'll copy this one here, and we'll stick this one there. Now, if we delete all these here, there we go. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed because we're now using inline styles, but we have got the values hard coded in there. So we need to change them for props. So we'll grab the key for overlay color. We'll go here and we'll just change it to the prop. And as you can see, it's now gone back to black. If I change this to red, we can see that this still works. So that's all good. So let's change that back to black. We're going to do the same for the overlay strength. So we'll copy the key. We'll go here and then we will add the strength there for that. I'm going to do the same for the blur. We'll copy the key for that. We'll go here, add the curly braces, and then stick the prop name inside there, and we've got the blur in there. Now, when we click on save and exit, look how cool this is. We've now got the props we need. If we want to change the overlay color, we change it to red or blue or VAR primary. We can adjust the strength, 75%. We're going to change the blur amount to 20 pixels. Change the overlay strength to 25%. See how cool this is? Yeah? But we're not going to stop there. We've not finished. We're just getting started. We are just getting started. Now, we're going to probably go further than we need to now. What if for SEO purposes we want a different headline? We want a H1 to read something like wedding DJ in Oklahoma. Okay, it's not a nice headline to have. Okay, it's just not a nice headline to have. The biggest wording on the website is now wedding DJ in Oklahoma. It's not capturing people's attention. You'd want something like for the I don't know. This is what all weddings should look like. Okay, we'll change the blur to like 2px whatever, and maybe we'll change the media. We'll just pick up something where there's a bit of a banging party going on. Maybe this one here. Okay. But this is what all weddings should look like is not a great headline. It's not something that people are going to be searching for. They're not going into Google and they're going, right, we need a DJ. This is what all weddings should look like. And we're not going to appear. We need to now have two headings. We need to have a an SEO heading, and we need to have a main headline. Okay? But we also need to think about, but what if they don't want an SEO heading? What if they just want a headline? We can't have two H1s on a page. Is there a way of being able to change the tag using props and make it really easy? The answer is yes. This is ETCH. You can do all sorts of shit in ETCH. So we need to refactor the component just a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. So we'll click on edit component. We can see we've got a heading here. Okay, we're going to change that to a P, to paragraph text. Okay. Now you can see that the size of the text has changed now. It's become the same size as all the other paragraph text on the website. But the good news is we can use CSS to still make it look like a headline. Okay, still make it as big as the heading. So what we can do here is just put font size, and then we'll just do the ACSS variable for H1. Okay, now we also need to change the weight because it was bold. So we could do, let's have a look. I should really use this mini GUI more than I should. Heading font weight, there we go. We've now got it in bold. Let's just move this up here. It's that one, isn't it? There we go. If you press Option and then the up-down arrows on your keyboard, you can do that. We want to use the line height of the heading. There we go, because just in case you've got a different line height. And I think that should be it. Now, even though this is a P, it's now styled to look like a H1, which is pretty cool. We now need to add a new H1. However, we're not going to call it, we're not going to use the heading element. We're going to use a new element which appears once you've turned something into a component, because this is where you are only really going to ever use this component. So ETCH has this great system of only showing you stuff that you're going to need access to when you need it. And you'll see down here we've got three new icons. We've got the slot, which we're not going to cover in this video, the dynamic element, and we've also got a HTML element. And we're going to use the dynamic element. Okay, so we're going to just select that. And we're going to have to move it up here and have it at the top. And then inside here, we are going to just drop some text. Okay. I think this is how you do it. Let's hope so. And we are going to call this this element. This is going to be the SEO heading. Okay. That's probably the best way to describe it. And then we've got the text here, which is, we'll say, wedding DJ in Oklahoma. See, I don't live in the States, so typing some of these things is really quite difficult. And then we'll change this to, well, we'll deal with that later. So we've got our SEO heading. Now we want to give this a class, really important, needs to have a class. So we will call it hero dot hero. Let's get this right. SEO heading. Okay. And we're going to set the element, the tag here as H1. Now, as you can see, what has happened the SEO heading is now as big as the H1 and has all of the styling that a H1 has. But we don't want it to look like a H1. We're happy to have it as an SEO heading, right? But we don't want it to look like a H1. So we can just use some CSS just to make it look like normal text. So we'll go font size. We're going to have small text, maybe not so small, maybe that big. Okay. We're going to have we'll say maybe text like muted. I'm going to change the font weight. We're going to have just like standard font weight. We're going to change the spacing. We're going to have well, we've got no values in there, so we'll put is it letter spacing? Yeah, letter spacing. Let's put 0.5 m just to kind of spread it out a little bit. Maybe that's a bit too much. 0.25. Yeah, that should be okay. We want to change the case of this. Can we do this here? No, but we certainly want the line height so that there's no sort of like additional kind of padding below, above and below. We're going to do the change it to uppercase. Okay, actually, look, noticed here. We don't put there we go. We're going to text transform to uppercase. Maybe we will go with XS just to make it a lot smaller. Okay. And what we're going to do now is, because we've set this tag as the H1, we're just going to save and we're just going to exit. And then we're going to look at this on the front end just to see what we've got in the inspector. And look, now we're not getting white, but we can deal with that in a minute. Inspect. So if we look at the code in the background here, you can see that we've got the wrapper, we've got a H1, which is the SEO heading here, and we've also got the wedding DJ in Oklahoma text is a P. Okay, so we're going to need to deal with that in a minute because we've not done this right. And we've got another P here, which is the welcome to Party Time DJs. Okay, so what we need to do then is come out of this. We'll go back to the builder, edit the component, and clearly I've not done this right, have I? We're going to take the class off this, but we're not going to delete it. If you want to delete classes in Etch, if you right click on the little class pill, click on delete, that will delete it completely off the website. But we're not going to delete it. We're going to leave it there. We'll just take it off that element and we're going to stick it on here. Okay. And we do that, just press Command Enter, and then we'll get its hero SEO heading. There we go. So now if we click on save and exit and save, and then we go and look at this on the front end again, we'll just go back here, refresh, we can see now that we've got the styling there. So we'll click on inspect, and we can see now that the dynamic elements here has H1, and then we've got a P inside there. That's not right, is it? Okay. You're with me on this one, guys. Let's try and figure this out. Let's try and figure out how this works. Okay. It's probably a good time to go and visit the Etch docs. Etch WP docs dynamic element. See, now if I was one of these professional content creators on YouTube, I'd have figured out all of this beforehand, before making myself look silly. But I just want to keep it real, you know? I just want to make it look like I haven't got a fucking clue what I'm doing. And I haven't. Right, using the dynamic element. Once you've added it, you'll see a tag import. This is a control. This is a combo box, variety of commonly used tags. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Changing the tag dynamically. Yeah, that's fine. But what's the syntax for... you can add the dynamic to... So what have we got here? We have got... Okay, right. I get it now. I get it. Right. Let's get rid of that. Let's put the class back on this. SEO heading, that's all good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stick the text in here. Wedding DJ in Oklahoma. There we go. We are off and running. Click on exit. We'll save. We'll go back to this one. Let's refresh over here. And all being well, we've got our H1 heading. And then we've got our P, which is the headline. Okay. So there's a couple of things we now need to do, because we've already said, well, I said that you may not want this little headline all the time. So if you take that away, you're left with no H1 because this is a P. Okay, so let's go back and edit the component. And what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the heading. Okay, and we need to change this to the dynamic element as well. So we'll get rid of that, and then we'll add the dynamic element again. Okay, and this is we'll call this the headline now. Okay, it's the headline. And we need to put the class back on it. So .hero heading, I think it was. And we're just going to add the content. Now, this is already a prop. So what we can do is grab the headline, okay, and stick the content in here. There you go. That was simple, wasn't it? Now we need to add a new prop for Wedding DJ in Oklahoma. So we are going to add that as a text prop. And we're going to move it to the top. And we're going to call it the SEO heading. And we're just going to put the default in here, Wedding DJ. Actually, what we can do is we can just save ourselves a bit of time, a bit of typing by just grabbing that. That's all good. Excellent stuff. And we're now off to the races, as Kevin Geary would say. So we can change this to Wedding DJ in Kansas, whatever you want it to be. Now, like I said, what if you don't want the SEO heading? What if you want to hide it? The headline then has to become the H1. So how do we deal with that? Well, actually, let's not do that. We want to edit the component. Okay. At the minute, that was incorrectly a div. We're going to say it's a P. This is currently a H1. The beauty of using the dynamic elements is that you can use props to change the tag. Yeah, I'll show you how we do that. We're going to do it as a select prop, okay? And we're going to add 2 of them. Okay, and we're also going to add a boolean prop, which we're going to use to hide the SEO heading if we don't need it. Now, we'll give these a name now. This is the SEO heading tag. This is going to be the headline tag. It jumped around then, if you notice, because I was using the same prop name and key as another prop within the same component. Okay, so when you see it jump around, it's for that reason. Headline tag, and then we'll just call this hide SEO heading with a question mark. And we're going to leave it as default as off. Now, we just need to rearrange these into some kind of order. So we'll put this one at the top. Why is it not going to the top? Come on. Why will it not go to the top? Okay, well, we'll move these down then, if you want to be like that. Oh, I can't move these. Okay. Hide SEO heading. Let's put that Oh, this is weird. Why can't I do that? Headline tag. Something not right here. Let's click on exit. Maybe Etch has disappeared up its own backside. Let's have a look. Right, okay. We've refreshed. Edit component. It may just be a blip. Let's just hope it is a blip. So we want hide SEO heading. There we go. Cool. Maybe we'll put that below the SEO heading or above it. Yeah. SEO heading tag. We'll put that there. And we've got headline tag. There we go. Right. Now, we're going to go into the options for SEO heading tag. Now, thinking about it, this by default will always be a H1 unless we hide it. So I've over-engineered this. I've complicated this now. So we're going to delete that. We don't need that prop. Because we just want a boolean to hide it if we don't need it. But we do want to control the tag of the headline. Because if we are hiding the SEO heading, we need the headline to change from a P to a H1. So the default is going to be P. And then we're going to have an option to have a H1. Okay? Just click on save. We're going to grab the key. We're going to go to the element. And we can expand everything just by clicking up here. And we're going to stick the prop in here. Okay? Now, we're going to see how that changes things on the front end. We're just going to leave everything else as they are. We're going to leave the SEO heading as a dynamic element. I could just change it back to a H1, but I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Exit, save. Let's go and have a look at what's happening on the front end. I've got a bit of an itchy underboob. Right, so as you can see, we've still got the H1 and we've got Welcome to Party Time DJs as a P. Now let's see if we can change that to a H1. So we're here in the component. We're going to change it to a H1. Click on save. Go. See, nothing has changed. The font has changed. Everything's the same. Everything is as it was. We'll refresh. And up here somewhere, where is it? Show me, come on. Where is it? All right, it's here in the main section, div. Yeah, okay, all right. It's just quicker to just go here, isn't it? There we go. You can see now we've got two H1s, which is not an ideal situation to be in. We don't need two H1s. All we need to do now is use the prop we set up to hide the SEO heading and add some conditions to the SEO heading element. That's a piece of cake to do, right? So we've got a boolean prop. Its default is off. Okay, if we just copy it, go to the element, we're now going to wrap this in a condition. In order to do that, you right click, wrap in condition, and then you go here, and all you do is you just paste in the prop. Now, when you're doing it in conditions, you don't need to add the curly braces around it, because as you can see, it's already got curly braces. Okay, so this is basically saying hide it if this is true. Okay, I'll show you what that does on the front end. We click on exit, save. We have, if you look, the default is off. Okay, I've done this the wrong way around, haven't I? Show SEO heading is what we need. Right, okay. See, I mean, look, you know, I was never any good at this kind of stuff at school. So, let's go to save. Let's change this around. You're probably all screaming at the screen going, Ian. Right, show SEO heading is true. Right, okay. And then that's That's the way it needs to be. There we go. Now, I could have changed the logic. I could have put a not in there, but, you know, we're just going to roll with it as it is. Right, is this right now? Oh, God, what's happened now? Who's that? Millie. Right. Okay, so, of course, the prop key has changed. Schoolboy error. Okay, right, save, exit. Oh, I'll never be a professional content creator making errors like this. Right, with it off, the SEO heading is hidden. With it on, the SEO heading is there. So, right, if we hide it now, leave this as H1, what does this do to the front end? Can we see some HTML for the condition? Can we still see the H1? Does it all go wrong at this point? Let's refresh and have a look. We will grab this element here. Now you can see the SEO heading is gone, but if we look over here in the code, there's only one H1, which is this, which is exactly what we needed. If we go back and we show the heading, change the headline to a P, click on save, go back, refresh. There we go. We've got a H1, which is the wedding DJ in Oklahoma, and we've got the P, which is the welcome to party time DJs. So there we go. So that is how you add an SEO heading with the ability to change the tags of other elements. Now, we can go a little bit further. We're 41 minutes in. We could create props to hide the CTA buttons. What if we only want one CTA button? So let's do that. We're going to need two boolean props. Now, is this going to work? Because the buttons are components in themselves. I mean, look, we can try, can't we? So we'll add a... this is probably a road we're going to go down and very, very quickly hit a dead end. But it'd be good to see what happens. So let's add another boolean prop, and we're going to call this show CTA1. Okay, and it's set to show. We'll copy the key. We'll go to save. But you see now, we want to affect this. Can I wrap this in a... I can wrap it in a condition. Okay, it's all looking good so far. Click on exit. Look at that. Look at that, boys and girls. Look at that. We can show it, we can hide it. So now we can do it to both of them now. I wasn't actually sure if we were able to do that, but the condition is in the component, in the hero section component. It's not in the icon button component. That's where I thought it was all going to go wrong. Okay, let's add another boolean prop here for show CTA2. And then this way, you've now got the ability to show and hide the two CTAs. I mean, you could just add one prop which just hides both of them. Okay, wrap in a condition, paste the condition, save, exit. And then we can hide the second one, we can hide them both, just show the second one. Look how cool that is. Look how cool that is. Right, on to the final thing now. Now, if you remember, when we go down through the different screen sizes, it gets to a certain point and then the text sticks to the left hand side. Oh no, actually we're going to do two things. The text sticks to the left hand side. What if you want the text to be on the left all the time? How do we deal with that? Okay, so let's go into the component. We'll go to the content wrapper because that's where everything is, and you can see here that we had this CSS here. This affects whether the text was in the center or on the left. If I just copy that and delete it, everything sticks to the left. If we add it back in, we can see that it comes back here. So what we need to do is we need to add a prop which allows us to select whether we want the text in the center or on the left, and then use the value of that to change the CSS. So we're going to use a select prop for this, okay? And we'll choose select. I'm going to call this content position. I mean, I don't know if that's even a good way to put it. Where should we put it? We'll put it at the top. So we'll choose center, and we'll have a value of center. If you're using the same word as the label and as the value, you don't actually have to do that. It has to be lowercase though. There is a way of modifying it. In fact, let's go and have a look at that. Modify prop select value lowercase. ETCH, that's what we need to do. Okay, we'll leave that for now. We'll look at it another day. But we're just going to use a value pair for now. We've got center, center, and then we're going to put left as left. Important to have spaces before and after the colon. Really, really important. Now, in order to use this, we're going to use a data attribute. Okay, a data attribute will allow us to get the value from the component, and then we can use CSS to react to whatever that value is. So we're going to do it on the content wrapper. Okay, this is the thing we're going to be affecting, and we're just going to add the data attribute. I was always taught, I don't know if you have to do this, but it kind of makes sense to always name your data attribute, start your data attributes with the word data. And we're just going to put content position. Okay, and what that does is it adds the data attribute here to the HTML. Now we can grab the key, and we're going to stick the key in here. Now, I think you have to put the curly braces on it, but I could be wrong with that as well. So we'll just click on save and exit, and we'll just see how that affects things on the front end. Obviously, if we set to left, doesn't really matter. If we because it's not, we haven't told it what to do yet. So we'll just leave it on center. Go back to the front end, and we're going to look at the content wrapper. We're going to inspect, and we'll go to the content wrapper here, and we can see if we scroll in. Can we scroll in? No, we can't scroll in. Data content position equals center. If I change that to left and click on center, on save, sorry, when we refresh over here, we can see that it's now changed to data content position equals left. Now, if you remember from part 1, if we take these commands away, okay, everything goes to the left. So technically, all we need to do is tell CSS, if the value of the data attribute is center, then do this. We don't need to give it a command for what to do if everything is positioned to the left, because it's left by default. Okay, so we can leave that there. Now we just need to add in the data attribute to grab the value and then change the CSS depending on what the value is. And in order to be able to do that, you use the ampersand, which is a selector for the current thing, which is the content wrapper. Okay, and then we open and close square brackets. We want data content position equals, and then we want the value. Okay, and then open and close the squirrely brackets. Move this inside there now. Okay, if we go into here and then go back into there, you can see that Etch has now properly nested it. So if this is the code we just added, we're telling it, I'll just go through it again very slowly. We're saying the and is the selector for the current element, this current CSS class. Look at the value of data content position. If it is center and the screen size is above 800 pixels, then put it in the center. Put the content, all the elements inside this content wrapper in the center. In an ideal world, that is what is about to happen. Okay, so we'll click on there. Now, it's moved over to the left because I've got left. If I change that to center. Who's the most amazing content creator? Me. Bosh. Right. Sorry about that. Right. Hope that made sense. I mean, but you could do that for all sorts of things. You could move the position. You could have it at the start, at the top of the hero, the bottom left, the bottom right, the bottom top left, top right. There's no limits as to where you position the text. You can have it right aligned. You know what I mean? You can use data attributes in order to mess around with it. Now, we're going to use data attributes again for just one more thing. This is the final thing because we're 52 minutes in. This has been a long old video. Now, we have got a value here. If we go to the parent element, padding block, this affects the height of the hero. If we take the XXL away and we change it to XL, it goes smaller. If it goes to L, it goes smaller again. If we change it to M, it goes even smaller. If we change it to S, it goes smaller again. Now, wouldn't it be great if you could have a prop where the website owner or the designer can decide how the height of this hero section? That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? And why would you want to do that? Well, you'd want to do that if you are planning on using this hero section somewhere else. Say maybe as a page header for a service. So if we think of a DJ may offer a photo booth. So what we could do is change this to, say, M, maybe S, okay? We could, if we click on exit, we could, now that it's S, we could hide the SEO heading, change this to a H1 and just put the best photo booth, sorry, no, that's the wrong one. The best photo booth in Oklahoma. You could then hide the CTAs. You could then change the image. One thing I have noticed is the wrapper is still there. Okay, so we might try to deal with that. Not sure how to deal with that. I'm sure there's a way of being able to nest conditions so that hide the wrapper if this and this. Okay, well, we might have a look at that. because I want to do this proper, you know. So anyway, so you can see why we'd want to affect the height of the hero, because we might want to use it somewhere else. So if we change the media, I mean, I don't know, we'll just choose this one. For argument's sake, you can have a nice picture of a photo booth in there, people using the photo booth, and then use it as a page header on the photo booth page. So let's sort that out, and we're going to do that with data attributes as well. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is add a select element, and we're going to call it. Is it done it already? Yeah. We're going to call it hero height, and we're going to have some fixed values in here. So we want XXL to be the default. Okay, XXL to be the default. We want to offer XL as an option, L as an option, M as an option, S as an option, and maybe XS as an option, because we can. Okay, make sure that they're all done right. Excellent. We're going to go back to the hero, because this is where we want to attach the data attribute to. But let's move this to the top first of all. Okay, we'll go to the section. We're going to add a new data attribute. We'll call this data hero height. Okay, and then we're going to copy the key and then put the value in the data attribute. Okay, so that does nothing at this stage. Okay, we then need to create some CSS, which then changes the padding block value based on whatever the value of data attribute is. So if you remember from when we did it with the with changing the content position, you start with and, open your square brackets, data hero height. Okay, and we'll do the first one, then open the curly braces, and we're going to just put XXL in here. Okay, we're going to copy that, and we're just going to move that up there, make it all nice and pretty. And then what we can do is we can copy and paste this for every different option we've got. Now, I don't know whether there is actually a prettier way of doing this, but I mean, I could ask Claude, how many have we got? 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we got XL, so we can change the height to XL. We got L, and we'll change that to L. We've got M, we'll change that to M. We've got S, we'll change that to S. And we've got XS, and we'll change that to XS. Okay, that should be good to go. Hero height, props hero height. Yep. Right, exit, save. Okay, so we have got, let's just turn these CTAs back on because that's going to bug me. Okay, so we've now got the hero height as XXL. If we change it to XL, change it to L. I mean, what you could do is, I mean, for the customer, if they're going to be editing this, you could change this to extra large. Okay, just to make it look nicer. Extra large, and then we've got large, medium, S, small, extra small. There we go. And you could just like give, sometimes having the value pairs is actually really quite useful because you can make it look a bit more kind of friendly. If it's only you that is going to be editing, then you could just put any values in there that you want. Okay, so hero height, there you go, extra large, extra large, large, and then we go down to the extra small to make it really narrow. Now, let's deal with this situation with the CTAs, because when we hide both CTAs, the wrapper, the div, is still there. So what we want to do is we want to hide that div if both boolean values are true. And let's go and have a look at the HWP docs conditions. If we can just stick an and in there, that would be really cool. Conditional logic. Okay, let's have a look. If that okay, right, yeah. Strict comparisons, values, best practices, if that, advanced conditions, and, oh, here we go. Okay, yeah. It looks like we can do this. Really, really simple. We have to use the double ampersand though. Okay, I get that. Right, so let's edit the component again. We're going to go to the wrapper where the CTA is, and we're going to stick a condition on the wrapper. Okay, right. If where is it? That. Okay, double. Right, and then we'll grab that one. So what we're saying is hide this wrapper if the values of these are both... Oh no, show this wrapper if the values of these are both true. Okay, right, let's see what happens. God, I hope this works. I don't want to look stupid. So we're going to hide... okay. Right, so it did work, okay? Kind of. Okay, so the condition is clearly wrong. The condition is clearly wrong. Use the AND operator when you want to show an element only if all the conditions are true. We want an or. Or. That's what we want. Is this a double? Is this a double pipe? Is that what they call it? I think it is what they call it. So let's go to the condition. We're going to change that to the pipe. That's what it said, didn't it? That's what it said. Show it if any of these conditions are true. That's what you want to do, yeah. So I just had my logic wrong. So that should be right. Yeah, okay. All right, let's give it a whirl. Okay, so if we hide CTA1, still show the wrapper. If we hide CTA2, still show the wrapper. If we hide both, it gets rid of the wrapper. Look at that, boys and girls. Look at that. Let's stick the SEO heading on. Let's turn it into a P. Everything is fine. Let's show the CTAs. Let's put 10px on the blur. Let's change it to orange. Let's change the strength to 75%. Look at that, boys and girls. There we go. But then as you watch this, it's still responsive, by the way. If we just do that, yeah, it's still responsive. It's all good. Once you've realized the power of components, you then start to look at, well, what else can I turn into a component? What other controls can I add to this to make this even more amazing? I mean, there are literally no limits. You could add a gradient overlay. You could add an SVG overlay. You could position the text and have text clipping with different gradients on the images and just say, yeah, I want the gradient on or off. There's no limits. I want the text flying out. I want confetti all over. You could have all of that. We're not going to do that in this video. Sorry for keeping you for so long. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, if you like my content, give me a subscribe. Click on the, is it a bell? I mean, I don't know. Click on the subscribe thing at the bottom and leave a comment. It would be great to hear from you and what you think of this video and think of my content. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from you. See you later.